record. Okay. What we're going to do this week that's a little bit different is we're going to take it from being about ourselves and taking it outside of ourselves now. So last week's work was more about you and your perspective and realizing what it is that's holding you back so that you can move forward. And this week is about letting go and moving forward. So I told you these are all related. This is getting us to the next step. So the next step is that. That's why the Zoom is called Attitude of Gratitude. So let's talk about gratitude for a second. We all have heard that, I just got distracted by your note, Mary. It's on Kindle. Okay, cool. All right. You'll have to share that with us in the group chat whenever. So attitude of gratitude. We've all heard about gratitude and how important it is, and we should do it and write 5 things that you're thankful for. There's a big difference between knowing it in your brain, like it's something that you should do, and then feeling the gratitude in your heart. There's a huge difference, because when you take it from your mind to your feelings and to your thoughts, that's when you're creating the life that you want. That's when you're creating and getting to those goals that you've set for yourself, because you're taking it out of being logical and you're putting it into a feeling. When you put something into having a feeling about it, it happens so much faster. You can manifest it almost immediately in a very short period of time, because the law of attraction and the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, doesn't know the structure of time. So if you're telling your subconscious mind, like, this is happening now, it doesn't know any better. So all it's going to do is it's going to respond to what you're asking, and you're going to get what you want because you feel it, if that makes sense. The feeling is what attracts all of that into your life. So gratitude is super, super important if you're trying to manifest something in your life, because if you're not grateful for what you already have, you're not going to get more. You have to be grateful for what you have. And I'm talking about like super, super simple gratitude. Like, I have clean water to drink. Like, it can be the simplest thing. The birds chirping in the morning that I hear outside my window. Making yourself aware of those little tiny details of life also allows you to tap into your intuition. And when you're operating from the place of your intuition, that is super powerful. I mean, you're sitting at the seat of manifesting things into your life. So that's why that has to be a habit. Gratitude is a super, super important habit. And I'm not just talking about, writing 5 things down that you are grateful for every day. And that's important. That's good. But I'm going to put it in the team chat. There's this 7-minute video that Tony Robbins has on YouTube. It's called the Gratitude Exercise. And it's very, very powerful. So if you are not sure about how to get into that feeling space of gratitude, I recommend that you do that video. It's really short. You can do it like first thing when you wake up. You don't even have to get out of bed. You can just like play it from your phone with your headphones on. You will be sobbing by the end. Just trust me. And when you're sobbing and you're like grateful from that place of like your entire being, that's the good stuff. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be creating from. So I'm going to put that in the team chat. And every single person that was on that boat that makes shit tons of money, pardon my French, they're all extremely grateful. Like, extremely grateful about things that you probably think are silly. Like, that is their attitude every day towards life. They smile at everyone they see, and you're probably thinking like, well, of course they do, Melissa, because they have $1 million in their bank account. No, but how do you think they got there? They had to make that a habit. They had to be grateful for what they had to get to that place. Like one of the girls, her name's Stacy Hedwiger, something like that. She's blonde. She's got really long blonde hair, and she was like giddy like a little kid because she constantly sees hearts in her soup. like little, like they brought her soup and it had like a little droplet in it that was a different color, but it was the shape of a heart. And like she takes a picture every time she sees hearts in her food, and she tells everybody about it, and she's like extremely happy about it and smiling about it, and saying like, thank you, you know, thank you, God, I see that you love me, it's in my food. Like, I think, you know, and I when I heard her say that at first, I was like, what is she saying? And then I was like, oh, I get it. I get what she's doing, because she, when the Come As You Are party that we had, where you have to talk like you're 5 years in the future, like your future self, all night long, she was at our table and she made us take it to a whole nother level. Like, we all knew what we were going to say, and then she came and sat at our table, and we were like, oh crap, we got to step it up because Stacy's at our table. So we know she's going to take it like beyond. So like we had ideas and we kept like scratching them, like, oh, start over again. And we were like playing off of what each other was saying, because we had to play at Stacy's level. We couldn't get left in the dust, you know, like we had to talk to her on her level. So when that was over and we were back at Denise and Carla's room, Stacy was telling Erica, who's a friend that I met on the cruise, you know, there's some books that you really need to read. And she told her, this book is like $5. You can get it on Amazon, super cheap. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. And it's really thin. It's like that thin. I just got it. And she said she read that book in her very first network marketing company. And she went from making, barely scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck, to making $250,000 a year in her first company from reading that book. So I was like, what's that book called? I'm getting it. So Erica was like, she gave me a list. We got to read all these books. I'm like, cool. Is this the first one? Let's read it till we're done with it, and then we'll move on to the next one. So that's like a perfect example of taking that gratitude to the next level. Okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Today, we're going to focus on resentment and forgiveness. Resentment is obviously not about you. It's about somebody else in your life, okay? So you have to ask yourself if you have resentment. Why does resentment happen? And then she gave us a page of like names that she wrote down of people that you might have that feeling towards, that you want to start your letter on. And it says, dear, and then she lists mom, dad, brother, sister, spouse, friend, ex, money, because money is a big one, stepfather, stepmother, teacher, coworker, family member, team member, life, God. A lot of areas of what we're covering here. So if you have resentment in any of those areas, or if you have resentment over a situation in the past, you need to write a letter to that person or to that situation, okay? And describe what that hurt and that anger felt like, because you have to get it out. So you have to go through the feelings to let it go. So know that you're probably going to cry, and that's okay. Just to go into the full description of what that resentment is for you. It could be a person, it could be a place, it could be a thing that happened to you, it can be a situation, it could be a current situation. I mean, it can be so many things, but this one is not particularly about you. It's about usually someone else or a situation, most likely. So I'm going to type in the comments the questions you want to ask yourself. Okay, so I'm going to type here. I'm going to take a picture of this because Sathi's really good at keeping track of this for me. I'm going to title it Resentment and Forgiveness. And what you want to ask yourself, questions. Uh-oh, what happened to my cursor? Questions to process resentment. What you want to do is you want to process it because you want it out of your life. Okay, because it's going to hold you back. And we don't want to be held back anymore. We want to go forward. That's the whole point of us doing this. So the first question is just like last time. What action or non-action did someone violate? And remember, this can be recent. This can be like when you were 5. This can be like when you were in high school. I mean, it can be any time in your life, okay? Just figure out what comes up for you. If you haven't done the inner child meditation yet, and you don't have an automatic situation you can think of right now, by me just having you ask yourself these questions, do that meditation first. It's like 30 minutes. It should bring some stuff up for you. If there's stuff, it will come up. Okay, so what belief or should did that action or non-action violate? Okay, and then 3. And if they're confused, they can just watch the video because we're not making it that long. What is unrealistic about that belief or should? Okay, same thing. In relation to this action or non-action, can you change their past behavior? No, you can't. You gotta let that shit go. It's over here. Answer to that is no, you can't. Okay, so how can you get rid of this resentment? Same thing, by changing your belief about it. Okay? And how we're going to do that is with our partner. We're going to read our letter to each other, and we're going to say the same thing that we did last time. Forgiveness is a daily choice I make for myself, and now that I have made it, I finally feel free. And then you're going to read it to your partner. Your partner's going to read it to you. We're going to do that same thing. I wish I didn't write in my damn notebook. I could have just taken pictures. It is what it is. So pick what that person or that situation is. Go into big detail about how it made you angry, how it made you afraid, how it hurt you, and how you wish that you would have done it differently. And then you have to forgive yourself. You have to read the letter to your partner and forgive yourself. Okay, I'm going to write the forgiveness part here. Forgiveness is a daily choice I make for myself. And now that I have made it, I finally feel free. Stacy, are we like open to talk about what you said after? I know your daughter's in the car, so I don't know. I don't know. Like, yeah. I don't. Okay. All right. So Stacy, for you, does something come up already? Do you already got what it is for you? Or you have to do that meditation and figure it out?
Well, no, it's a lot of issues, I think, with my father, my dad.
Okay.
I wrote a letter to him. I didn't write a letter to my mom yet, but I wrote a letter to my dad.
Okay.
That got really freaking like,
Oh, you're cutting out.
I'm driving through like Victorville, so I might go in and out. But yeah, that got really, like, I wrote a letter to my dad.
Mhm. Okay, so you're just going to take that a step further then, sounds like what you're going to do. And then as for Mary, I'm going to look up here to what you said here. What did you say? Follow through and self-sabotage. Okay. Have you figured out why you do that? Like now that you know it's there, have you figured out what's the trigger for it? Or what's the reason that you do it? Have you figured that out or no? Oh, I think you're frozen. Are you there? I think you froze. Oh, okay, here it is. Mine will be my mom, my teachers, my ex told me you can't, you won't. Okay. So that ties into next week. All of this ties into next week. So a little sneak peek to next week is with this resentment exercise, if there is a certain label that you give that person or that you've given yourself because of that situation, write it down because you're going to need it for next week. Okay? So, Mary, for you, my mom, my teachers, my ex told me you can't, you won't. Okay? So, this explains a lot about you in a good way. It's good. It's a good thing. This explains a lot because actually I share that with you, Mary. I was told a lot growing up that I can't, or I wasn't smart enough, or I wasn't good enough. Like, I don't think I've ever shared this with you guys, but when I started school, Spanish is my first language. English was not my first language. So that was cool and all until I had to learn how to read. That's when it got really bad. And my mom never taught me how to read because she didn't know how to read, and English is her second language. So she didn't know any better, and she didn't give me like a tutor or anything like that. She wouldn't let the teacher put me in ESL classes either. She just thought that I could figure it out by myself. And she didn't know any better, you know? So she let me figure it out. And I got to say that that was the best thing that she could have done because I was told by my teachers, you can't be in this like reading, group because, and it was like the popular reading group to be. Okay, I'm talking about like I was in first grade because I didn't know how to read. And so it took me a really, really long time to read, and reading frustrated the crap out of me as a little girl. And then it happened to me again when I was going to high school. And I was told I wouldn't get into the school I wanted to be in because I was not smart enough. My eighth grade teacher said that to me. She said, you can't go to that school, Melissa, because you are not smart enough and you're not going to do well there. She said that to me. And I can't believe it. Like now as an adult, how could you say that to a child when you're a teacher? Like, what's wrong with you? And what's wrong with like the job that you picked as a career? Like that was not a good choice for you, teacher. But as a kid, you don't know that. You don't know that that's like, you just hear the negative stuff, and then you label it in your brain forever as an adult that you're not smart enough or that you're not, quick enough or whatever. So, Mary, I totally get that one. I totally get that one. And you know what? You have to be grateful because it's given you a tenacious attitude about life. It's made you very determined. That's what it does. It gives you that characteristic big time. So use it as a way to empower yourself because that's really what it is. But still, write the letter. Write the letter to your mom. If you have to do like 5 letters, do it to your mom, to your teachers, I don't know how many teachers there were, to your ex, and tell them in the letter. Okay, maybe I should write down I should ask for some questions for the letter. So, dear, I'm gonna write dear. I'm just gonna leave some space. Mom and teacher is a good one, so I'm gonna leave that in there. I'm gonna put mom, teacher, ex, mom. Oh, I wrote mom again. Dad, brother, sister. A lot of people have issues with their siblings, spouse, friend. Money's a big one. That's why Denise added it, so I'm going to add that one. And there's already in there. Coworker, family member, team member, life, God. It hurt me when. Okay, these are just suggestions, okay? If you want to take your letter in a different direction, take it in a different direction. This is just if you don't know how to start it, I'm going to give you some little places to start. There's just, you're overwhelmed with emotion, you know, and you don't know where to go with it. This is just a little thing. Because this can be very emotional. And that's okay, you know, that's a good thing. Us yellows, we're comfortable with emotion. I am afraid that, I wish that you would have done this differently by, Okay, so that should help you with your letter. We also want to keep in mind, yet, despite I'm going to read these as soon as I'm done. Now, I promise next week is not going to be so emotional. Okay, we're getting to the light at the end of the tunnel. Next week's going to be all about identifying yourself. After getting rid of all this stuff and letting it go, identifying yourself and where you want to go and who you want to be. Okay. Okay, so I just typed, yet despite all of that, I chose to forgive you now because you did the best that you could with the information that you had at the time. That can be an answer. You didn't know what you didn't know. That can be an answer. I might have done the same thing in the same situation. That can be an answer. Now that I know, I can make different choices in regards to you. The point is, now that we have figured out what the resentment is, where it comes from for us as a person now in our journey in life, we want to heal it. We want to move forward and we want to heal it. You know, recognize it was there, heal it, and then move on. So one last thing I want to say about resentment is that it often happens because present time, not like when you're a child, because you can't help what's going on around you as a child. You're not the adult in that moment, but I'm saying like as an adult, resentment happens because you're giving of yourself. We're very familiar with this because we're all yellows. When there's nothing left for you to give, you can't pour from an empty cup. You just can't. You have to fuel yourself before you can generously give to others. So if you're feeling resentment towards somebody, it's probably because you gave to them. It could be emotionally, financially, physically, any of those things, when there was nothing left for you to give and you had no business giving anything to them or being generous to them when you didn't have enough for yourself first. That's the pinnacle of resentment. So if you have resentment towards your family or your mom or your kids or whatever it is in your life, stop and ask yourself that. Am I running on empty? Should I have said yes to that when I really should have been home, doing the laundry so that I can have clothes to wear tomorrow? Like I'm just giving like a random thing. And then when you operate from that place, you're going to have a much better day, much better week, much better month, much better year. And you're not going to find yourself being resentful anymore because you're not going to say yes to things as easily. You're going to check in with yourself first and then the outside world, which us yellows, we have trouble doing that because we're so involved with what's going on around us. We can't help ourselves. We're so affected by what's going on around us. We can't help it. We're social creatures. We want to connect with others so badly. That's what it is for us. So, yeah, resentment's a big one. It's a big one. I hope that helped. I'm going to stop the recording now.